So you've heard of a victory garden and you want to increase your food security, but you don't know where to start. Well, today on Wild Florida, we're going to talk about 5 strategies that you can use to increase your food security in your victory garden. Hi, I'm Jacqueline, the Wild Floridian, and welcome to episode 5 of the 9-part series where we go from a lawn to a victory garden in a snap. Victory gardens, which are all about increasing your food security while decreasing costs in a time of crisis. If this is your first time joining us and you want to start from the beginning, go ahead and click on this card right here, or you can wait till the end of the episode and click on one of these 4 corners where there'll be another card so you can start the series from the beginning. Okay, let's get into it. Let's talk about the 5 strategies that can increase your food security in your victory garden. So, strategy number 1 for increasing food security in your victory garden. And what do I mean? I mean about getting the most amount of food out of your victory garden. Well, the first thing we should be thinking about is layers. And the reason is because, well, we talked about what plants need in one of our previous episodes, and we said they need sun. So the way you can maximize sun for your plants is by layering them. So what does that mean? Let's talk about that from the ground on up. So what we can do is we can create plants of different heights so that they're not competing for the same sunlight. So think about how you can have from the top your vining tomatoes, and then right in front of them maybe some bushes, and then in front of them some low ground crops, and then how about some root crops right in front of that, and then maybe you have something poking up, coming up between. So let's think of an example of this. So let's start right at the ground again. Let's go with some roots. Maybe you put some carrots in, and then covering around the area you've got lettuce, and then we'll go to the next layer. We've got maybe some bush beans or some peppers kind of filling in between, and then going up, we've got some tomatoes, and maybe poking through, we've got some sunflowers. So this is an example of how you can layer plants of different heights and different needs so that they are not competing with each other for sunlight. So the second strategy that you should be using in your victory garden to increase your food security and the yields of your crops is spacing. Now, I've done it the wrong way before, and I've put lots of plants really close together, all of the same type, and they were not as healthy. Or even if they were doing okay, they didn't produce as many fruits and vegetables. So this is a technique that I highly recommend. So you want to give them the space because just like we talked about with strategy number 1, you want to let them have sun. The second piece is they need nutrition and water. And if they're too close together, well, those roots are going to be fighting each other for the same food and water. So you need to give them some space. The way that you can figure out what spacing you should be giving, it has to be found on the back of the seed packets, or you can Google that. And the third strategy that you need to do, well, so to make sure that you get your plant going, you add a few seeds into each little hole or row that you've been putting in, and you're going to get lots of plants popping up in one spot. And you may think, I can't kill my baby plants. And I definitely thought that when I first started gardening. And you need to. You need to kill your baby plants. You have to do it for the greater good so that you can increase your yields. So make sure you do that, because not thinning your plants is going to lead to unhealthy plants. And remember, if you're growing this for food, you need to have them be healthy so that you can get the maximum nutrition for you and your family. So thinning plants is important. So when you see those first 3, 5 little sprouts all coming out of that one little hole, you're going to have to take your little fingernails and go beep, 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 and clip them off it so that you leave the top 1 or 2, and then as those continue to get bigger, you get it down to just 1 plant so that it can thrive. So strategy 3, thinning. So the 4th strategy that you want to be using in your victory garden, well, it has to do with companion plants. Yes, these plants are friends, or they should be, or they'll be our friends. Yes. So, well, no. So really what companion planting is about is putting plants that are near each other that aren't competing for the same resources, so different types of nutrients, which is actually the opposite way of saying I don't want to put plants that compete for the same things. So just like we don't want to put 2 tomato plants right next to each other, we also don't want to put like a tomato and a bell pepper right next to each other, because they're both part of the nightshade family and they're pulling the same types of nutrients. So we need to give them some space from each other. But because they're also part of the same family, they're also going to attract the same types of pests. And because of that, if one tomato plant gets sick, sometimes those pests are going to jump right on over to your bell peppers. So by putting companion plants, which aren't looking for the same nutrients, they're often going to prevent pests from jumping over. And this is also an idea of creating a polyculture or avoiding a monoculture. I know we're getting into the science words, but really what it's saying is you don't want to plant hundreds and hundreds of tomatoes, because guess what? You get a pest in that's going to eat those tomatoes, well, bye-bye crop. But if you mix something in like the tomato and then a basil plant, well, the pest isn't going to typically be able to jump from your tomato to your basil plant. So that's going to allow for your plants to thrive overall, and it can block them from getting all throughout all of your crops. So what you want to do is think about companion planting and creating a polyculture by mixing in lots of different plants together. So strategy number 5 is all about succession planting. And that's just a fancy way of saying as one crop is ending, the next one's already going, so that it starts filling in the space being left behind by the crop that's heading out the door. And what this is great for is it can help block weeds from getting their way in, to also making sure that you're maximizing your food because you're not waiting for one crop to be completely done before starting the next one. So here's an example. You get your lettuce going, it's getting fuller, but you already started planting your cauliflower. So just as it's sprouting, you're starting to pull back your lettuce leaves because you're harvesting them, allowing more sunlight to get to your cauliflower. The cauliflower starts to take off, and by the time your lettuce is all done and you're removing it, well, the cauliflower is all filling in. So this is a great way from a timing standpoint to actually maximize your garden space. So now what we're gonna go do is we're gonna go plant my victory garden bed. So you can go along with me as I go and put these plants in the ground with my son. Sorry if this gets a little crazy because he'll be helping me and he's 5. So what we're gonna be doing is we'll be using things like the layering system. We're also gonna be looking at our spacing, and you really won't get to see thinning because my plants won't have it sprouted up, but I will show you some examples in some other areas where I'll go thin out. And what we'll also do is you'll see the companion by the mixture of plants that I'm going to go and do, but we aren't going to get into succession planting because I'm only doing the one time. Succession will happen a little bit later, like a month from now. I'll be looking at starting to put some plants in. Sound good? Let's go.
One.
That is like 6 inches deep. This is what you do when you realize you put down way too much mulch. Carrots. Did I get this? Yeah?
I want to do.
You want to shake some out? Here. Those are these. One. So here's some thinning we need to do. I don't know if you guys can see. There's 1 plant, 2 plant, 3 plant, 4 plants. So we need 5 plants. These can be 3 inches apart, but this is too close. So we're gonna say goodbye to you. Bye-bye, baby carrot. So now this is 1, 2, that's 3. And since this guy is stronger, it's a toss-up. That one can stay. See a butterfly. And that one.
I got really close.
And that's all there is to for thinning. Whoop. You need, okay. And then all I do is I leave them just right here. Break down. Now you can be food for your brothers and sisters. It's okay. Ta-da! Thinning. That's it. That's all there is to it. Hey, so one other thing I'm gonna be doing with all these extra seeds, just because I know I went a little too deep with the mulch and I pulled a lot of it back, but what I'm also gonna do is take some trays I have and create little starter plants just in case some of the spots that I planted fail. So that's one other thing I would recommend you doing to make sure you're very effective with your plants.
Mom,
What?
I want some.
You want some of these? Yeah, we'll do more. Here's the baby. All right, that's it. We planted our victory garden. All we gotta do is give it a little drink of water, thin out our plants in a week or so, and we're done. That's episode 5 of a 9-part series. So what else is there? Oh, right. See, we just talked about how we can increase our food security with our 1 victory garden bed, but how can we reduce our costs even more? Well, that is the next episode. We're going to talk about how we can make a victory garden for little money to no money because you're in a time of crisis. So to make sure that you don't miss that, go ahead and like, subscribe, and ring that bell for notification. New videos each week, except right now we're doing 5 videos a week because you're in a time of crisis. And while you wait, if you're looking for other videos, go ahead and check out the Growing Food is Easy challenge series where we dig deeper into growing food. And if you want, go and check out other videos that you'll find on my channel. All right, I'll see you soon. Bye.